The clatter of crystal glasses and a woman barking orders for more shrimp skewers hit me like a freight train as I pulled into my driveway. Then came the deep growl of my dog, Brutus, eyeing a stranger setting up a buffet table inches from his favorite patch of grass. I hadn't even cut the truck's engine when I saw her Lillian Carver, HOA president, ruling my front lawn in a sun hat wide as a satellite dish, directing caterers like a general at a feast. My freshly seeded grass was buried under folding chairs, linen-draped tables, and a carving station manned by a chef in a crisp white coat. The scent of roasted meat filled the spring air, but all I tasted was raw disbelief. I stepped out, staring at the invasion like I'd stumbled onto a movie set on my own property. "Excuse me," I called, loud enough to cut through the chatter. Lillian barely glanced over, waving me off like a gnat. "Oh, you're home early. Don't worry, we'll be gone by 6. We needed space for the buffet. Your lawn gets the best light." I blinked once, twice, 3 times, shaft convinced the sun had scrambled my brain. "Lillian, this is my property. You didn't ask." She laughed, a sharp, dismissive snort. "Don't be dramatic, Caleb. We're borrowing it for a few hours for my niece's bridal shower. It's not like you were using it." Brutus and Luna, my dogs, padded up, fresh from smudging the bay window with their noses. A caterer had left the gate unlatched, exposing their sacred lawn. Brutus, a massive wall of black fur, rumbled low. Luna, lean and wired, locked onto a stack of fluttering napkins like they were a wounded squirrel. Lillian spotted them and sneered. "Keep those beasts back. They'll ruin everything. This is a high-end event." I knelt, scratched Brutus's ears, and met his gaze. "Feel like meeting some folks, bud?" Lillian's shriek split the air before they moved. Brutus loped with deliberate swagger. Luna darted like a heat-seeking missile. They hit the table legs like furry wrecking balls. Shrimp skewers launched skyward, one smacking a guest's forehead, another splashing the punch fountain, soaking Lillian's blouse. The chef retreated, hands up, as Luna leapt onto a bench, seizing a silk table runner in her teeth. A tug-of-war erupted, yanking plates and cutlery into the barking chaos. Guests screamed, scattering like ants. Brutus, cradling a rotisserie chicken like a prized toy, paraded across the lawn. Someone yelled, "Is that dog eating the wedding cake?" I turned to see Luna dragging a 3-tiered confection across the grass, Brutus joining to shred it before 20 horrified onlookers. Lillian, rising from a faceplant in spinach dip, mascara streaking like war paint, pointed at me. "You'll pay for this." I crossed my arms. "You're trespassing, Lillian, on my lawn with your buffet. Want to talk consequences?" She stormed off, yelling at her niece to grab the gifts as guests fled like the party was a crime scene. By the time the last car squealed away, Brutus and Luna lounged in the sun, bellies full, tails wagging. The lawn was trashed, frosting smeared, dirt trampled, but I'd take that over Lillian's HOA tyranny any day. I poured a lemonade, sat on the porch, and watched my dog share a pork shank like a victory trophy. This wasn't over. Lillian didn't quit grudges, but neither did I. The next morning, a neon orange envelope was duct-taped to my door, Lillian's signature for threats dressed as HOA notices. I peeled it open, expecting nonsense, and wasn't disappointed. A $500 fine for my dog's vicious attack on a peaceful community event, plus a mandatory behavior review. The damages list was absurd. A $350 pearl-handled cake knife, Italian champagne flutes, and emotional suffering from aggressive canine behavior, with her dry cleaning bill itemized. Sipping coffee on the porch swing, I watched Brutus and Luna nap like oversized pillows, Luna's tongue lolling as she snored. Vicious? Hardly. They only stirred for threats to their lawn or me. 2 weeks earlier, I'd installed wildlife cameras to catch coyotes near the back fence. Luck had them capture Lillian's buffet in high def, her dragging coolers across my grass, barking orders, my dogs entering only after I opened the gate, curious, not aggressive, just dogs being dogs. I had my weapon. The next HOA meeting was Thursday, giving me 3 days to craft a slideshow, copy footage, and print stills, including Lillian knocking over the punch bowl and her niece double-dipping shrimp. I captioned a foam board still of her dip-soaked face. Lillian's calamity at the local print shop, ready to bring props to the fight. Thursday's meeting packed the clubhouse, gossip drawing a crowd. Lillian sat at the head in a stiff blazer, tapping her pen like a judge. President Tom, a retired firefighter who dodged drama, called her to present. She stood, reciting her complaints. Lies about guests fearing for their lives, kids traumatized, me inciting a dog riot to ruin a sacred shower. I waited, then plugged my hard drive into the projector. 15 minutes of silence followed, broken by gasps, chuckles, then uproarious laughter. The 1080p footage showed Lillian trespassing, setting up, and panicking as Brutus and Luna romped. Her faceplant drew hoots. I paused on her dip-soaked still. My dogs never left my property. This was unauthorized trespassing, documented. The room erupted in applause. Lillian turned beet red. Tom, stifling a grin, said, "This seems misrepresented. We'll dismiss the complaint and review Lillian's conduct." She bolted up, toppling her chair, pointing at me. "This isn't over. You humiliated me." I held up the foam board. "You did that yourself. I just made it visible." Laughter roared. Tom gave up on order. Lillian grabbed her folder and stormed out, slamming the door, rattling blinds. Neighbors shook my hand. Sarah whispered, "She took my backyard for a brunch last year, then blamed me when sprinklers hit." Mike said he had a file of her fake complaints. I told them to email me everything. Lillian's war was on, and I had footage, witnesses, and 2 photogenic dogs. I'm Caleb Norris, 45, a mechanic who bought this 3-acre Austin lot for peace after years fixing rigs in oil fields. Raised by a farmer and a schoolteacher, I valued hard work and quiet. My lawn, my dog's Brutus's loyal bulk, Luna's wiry energy were my sanctuary, free from Willow Hollow's HOA, my deed clear since 1968. But Lillian, with her sun hat and clipboard, was a plague. Fines for my unkempt fence, complaints about my truck's industrial look. 3 quiet days passed before she struck again. Sunday morning, the smell of grilled meat woke me. I thought neighbors were barbecuing, but outside, a picnic hovered inches from my lawn, not on it, but kissing the boundary like a taunt. Lillian had returned with chairs, food, and a bouncy castle, paper lanterns dangling from my fence like she owned it. Kids shouted. A stranger flipped burgers by my property marker. Lillian grinned, waving like we were pals. "Morning. Lovely day for bonding, right?" I approached the fence. "You're 6 inches from my land." She chuckled. "Don't be uptight. It's public access until the line. Check the zoning." She was right. The HOA's easement, a weed-choked strip, was a legal gray zone. Brutus and Luna paced, tails stiff, remembering the buffet. I patted them. Not yet. I needed precision, not chaos. That evening, as her crowd thinned, I called Sophie, the animal shelter coordinator and Lillian's niece, horrified by her aunt's lies about my dogs. Sophie revealed Lillian's history of false reports, like accusing a neighbor of animal hoarding over a loose cat. We planned a fundraiser on my lawn paws and justice with obstacle courses, adoptions, and news coverage to showcase my dogs and expose Lillian. Flyers spread. Volunteers rallied. Saturday's event was a triumph. Cars lined the driveway. Families brought treats. A violinist played. Brutus wore a red bow tie, Luna a sparkly pink one, basking in attention. The news crew filmed. Donations poured in. Then Lillian arrived, in pastels and sunglasses, rage simmering. She whispered to a reporter, who ignored her, and stood glaring. A 3-legged lab, Jasper, bounded to her in an Adopt Me vest. She shrieked, stumbling into a kibble-filled kiddie pool, flailing as laughter erupted. The cameraman caught it all. Soaked in dog chow, she screamed, "This is sabotage." I shrugged. "You came onto my lawn." Lucky Jasper didn't sue for assault. She fled, kibble trailing, as the reporter filmed. The event raised $1,200. 3 dogs were adopted. The news aired Lillian's pool plunge twice, going semi-viral. The HOA's inbox flooded with demands to oust her. Lillian retaliated with calls in. HOA secretary quizzed my permits. A city inspector probed for unlicensed sales. Both tired of her meddling, I'd secured nonprofit status through the shelter. Her punches missed. Her Lexus circled my lot, her glare icy, then sped off. That night, my power cut at 9:17 p.m. No storm, just my house dark. Boot prints led to a broken breaker lock, crowbar marks clear. I filed a police report, added a new lock, and ran backup power. At the HOA office, Clara handed me Lillian's file. Daily complaints, blurry photos, forum posts accusing me of landscaping violations. I countered with my dossier neighbor statements, police report, bootprint photos, and shelter verification. Clara whispered, "You're not the first, but maybe the last." Lillian filed a lawsuit, claiming emotional distress and defamation, alleging my dogs were weapons. My cousin, a real estate attorney, laughed. This won't last 5 minutes. My grandfather's easement clause, allowing livestock movement through Lillian's lot, was my ace, enforceable, including dogs. At the next HOA meeting, standing room only, Lillian arrived with a thick binder and a lawyer. I presented the easement, sabotage report, neighbor testimonies, and her voicemail bragging about stopping my mutt parade. Her lawyer whispered. She paled. Tom announced a private board review, citing her troubling misuse of resources. Neighbors offered canopies for the event. Pause and justice shown kids, dogs, donations, Jasper stealing hearts. Lillian's pool plunge aired. Her lawsuit collapsed, and the board ousted her for breach of trust. Her house hit the market. She fled, blinds shut. A basket arrived cider, a note. Thanks for standing your ground, and a chicken-shaped toy. Brutus and Luna claimed it. My lawn, my peace, stood firm.